So one thing that's interesting, my deck is completely built on the fact that even if they have all the damage in the world, I still win. Because they could literally go Bobo Bobo Harpuya, something like that. I thought Derek now played Harpuya as well. So I think people caught on to that. So I assumed the very worst, give them all the damage and then still survive and destroy them. But you didn't run like this and Honolly, so how would you manage?
Well, just like against any deck that needs a lot of counterblast, or if you're theory crafting against your deck from when you won, you just have to pass with the first couple turns. There's just absolutely nothing that you can do if they get their combo off on your first grade 3 rides. So you just don't attack with your Vanguard or attack under their base power in the first couple turns. Or alternatively, you switch it up at one point and you try to throw them off. You give them one counterblast at some point, as long as you're pretty confident. You're holding a PG or something. You're like, yeah. And then you have them attack you once. Now that you have your counterblast, you just turtle out until the Zola play, and that's all it is most of the time.
I see. So
it did come up at least once, but what I did was I took the counterblast and then I stopped attacking with my Vanguard or any attacks at all. Actually, I just flipped my G zone, I flipped my G zone after striding, ended my turn so they couldn't G guard. And then the next turn, they were like, alright, I have to stride to gain generation break.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, okay.
I see. Because, like, I would only give them one counterblast early, by the way. Like, I was really afraid of them having to counterblast and destroy me. Like, my friend's build would just completely nut me. But since I run so many Bikun, I would have at least one PG if they only had one counterblast, so they could never actually kill me. But so, it's pretty interesting. I was really afraid to give them even one or essentially two after a while, because Bobo or Harpuya could literally ruin me. But yeah, I guess it does make sense. So yours was slightly more geared up towards Azel, but still able to beat NLK, whilst mine was slightly more geared up towards NLK, but still able to beat Azel.
And yes, definitely. I wanted to build a deck that would minimize the amount of, things that Ezel could do against me. Like
limit the options.
Limit their options, or like, actually it's the exact opposite. I want to further mine. I wanted to have multiple plays that I could do in reaction, like this, like calling this as a 14 against Ezel. If you're able to call more of these on your second turn, you're able to get more attacks, and Ezel really does lose a lot of cards. Actually though, they only get the 2 drive checks and maybe 2 in hand, I believe, that they had remaining.
They can din drain, but that's all.
They can din drain, yeah. If they din drain, they're at 6 in hand. But as long as you're able to commit these extra cards in the early game along with Compass Line, you're able to take down some rear guards. And as such, because I had an actual strategy against NOK and I had 0 strategy against Ezel, I wanted to at least... There's no strategy you can really use. You can just commit cards like this, and hopefully you take down enough rear guards. Ezel is not skill based.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. NOK you can try to have a strategy against, and golds there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. So one interesting thing is as well that Duckbill by itself, even unboosted, can take down Dindrain and Howl. So if they have those on an Excel circle, like, you don't even have to boost, just a 7 is enough to fuck them over.
Exactly, and they don't have the large enough hand to be guarding against all of your rear guards, so yeah, that's all it was. That's my strategy.
Makes sense.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Those are the only 2 decks, really.
Everything else is free, man.
Yeah. I mean, you will lose against some rogue decks, unfortunately. Okay, like occasionally there will be decks that just play around your strategy. Like,
actually, speaking of rogue, you die to Victor. Like, this guy would be so fucking funny. Like Bikun against their big Victor that keeps on restanding. Like, come on, man, I'll just Spangled and just Bikun. Or against, I actually played a lot against Anj, because I thought some people would play Anj with Bikun and Honolly to then ruin NLK as well and hope that they sack against Azel. So Anj, when they go for Tirua and then you use Bikun, it really, really ruins them. So that's pretty funny. So even though this is built to go against NLK, this card by itself already takes down some random rogue stuff as well. So that's pretty funny to me.
Did you have any troubles of because you're running 3 Bikuns?
Yeah.
Did it did it make you limit your hands or anything? Like, for example, you got great stuck because you're running a different grades lineup?
I mean, it's only 3 cards out of 50, and you mulligan, like you get with your new mulligan, it's actually way better than back in the day. So back in the day, this would matter slightly more, but it's still only like 3 out of 50 cards. In playtesting, sometimes I would think, oh, I always see this card at the bad time, but then once you open an Excel sheet and actually start tracking how many times is this card dead and how many times does this save my ass, like it's very obvious that you want to run this if you assume you'll see a lot of NLK.
Alternatively, Solemn's deck is built more geared towards the combo, so he doesn't actually commit cards in the early to mid game. Realistically, he just holds them in hand for Spangled combos.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need rear guards. Realistically, right? He just needs defense, and that's why the Bikun is so strong, because it's just extra defense that helps you turtle out into your combo. And
yeah, and even against Azel, you're actually just running an extra 10k shield instead of what would have been a grade 1 or a grade 2 that's only 5. So even there it makes like sense. Of course you don't want to be running just zeros because you want more shield, because you could also just run new V grade 1s, but it's just one more okay argument for why it's fine to run this. But I can see why this was actually, as I said, it's just better against Azel and it is better against NLK, and then you just kind of need to predict what you will see.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the only 2 decks we really had to think about. Those decks have such a overwhelming advantage against any rogue that they run up against.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you guys end up facing the Mega Colony deck at all? No?
No, but I'm pretty confident we both would have been able to handle it without a problem. We have G-Guards that call on the opponent's turn.
Yeah.
And that's already way too strong. Alternatively, we can just commit cards early and slide in. Like, there's just...
Gridora is free. Come on, let's just stop beating around the bush. Literally, like, we have Excel circles, so it like doesn't even matter that they take 1 column. You can like pass turn when they're about to G-Guard, so you call like a Rhino on an Excel circle, they think, oh, I'll G-Guard that one, and then you swing with Bolaro, get your advantage, and then you just pass turn, so that's 1 less turn of Optyrandus, and then before Optyrandus, they go Gridora, you can literally like all Mirage their face in, so like Gridora is free. Apart from maybe the old Dark Face can be pretty annoying, actually.
It can be slightly annoying, especially because they can tap the Zoa, right?
No, because it's unaffected by cards. No, or is it target? Wait, I actually have to read this.
It's unaffected.
Yeah, is it unaffected?
Cannot be chosen.
Actually, I think the new Dark Face doesn't even choose. The old Dark Face doesn't
I believe it doesn't choose. That's why.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely a strong combo that the Dark Face is super strong against.
Yeah.
So I thought it was that.
Yeah.
But either way, like there's just not a lot that deck has against this. But I can see like that deck. No, I honestly don't know how it won.
No, it was actually.
I think he was just piloting it really well, maybe.
Yeah, perhaps. I do think Gridora is a really good pick against NLK, but then against Azel, I don't know. The GB2 came in clutch, but that's about it. Everything else is just the old Gridora deck doing their thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add, ask? Since you're our GN guy.
That I learned a lot. I spent most of my time preparing for Wise. I didn't actually spend time looking into how premium GN works.
Yeah.
I think the only person that did was Kai, because Kai did some testing with Derek.
Yeah.
With GN against thing, and he told me he was destroying Derek pretty hard.
Derek was playing NOK, so it would
Yeah.
It's a very hard matchup for NOK to play around. You have to think really far ahead and try to. How is it? The only way, now that Worlds is over, I guess I'll just say the only way I could really see is maybe if they choose to ride into the Sullivan.
Yeah.
The Sullivan, and we don't get. No, it's not that. Yeah, and they just have enough normal units to call or grade 3s.
Sullivan to survive the Zoa.
Yeah, to guard the Zoa. But that's kind of unlikely because you still block out zeros. They would need to guard with 1s, 2s, and 3s that each would gain 10k shields. So
yeah, so
like
I actually played a lot of NLK, like ridiculous amounts, and essentially even if you have a surface level understanding of Great Nature, like maybe like I don't know how many games Derek played, but if you only went to 50 games, your understanding of the interactions of NLK versus Great Nature is still fine. So I assumed even if people assumed that Great Nature would be there and they practice for Answer of Truth, they would never go that far. And so yes, Sullivan is annoying, but what you can actually do is this is gonna be nutty. So essentially, you would go Balaral, and you will go Balaral and you boost it. And so what many NLK players will then do is, he's a noob because I can Batmalat him right now, be at GB, get my soul charge, and still take a damage, because when Balaral is boosted, it goes over that. And so they're thinking, oh, I'm gonna play some 3D chess right here and get that damage while also being at GB. But actually, they just wasted their Batmalat, which is the only card that can turn their Sullivan from 13 soul to 15 soul when you go to Zoa. So what you then do is, since you have Excel circles, you can swing with like the tiniest of shitty ass pieces of shit like Slip Pangolin, and then they have to Soul Blast out so many cards. So they're then at 13 soul, or 14 if they're really lucky, but then they're at 13 soul and they wasted their Batmalat the 2 turns before that, and then they can't get to it anymore. So that's what I actually started doing once I got really far into NLK matchups. But overall, I wasn't really afraid. Like, you have to play a lot of NLK against Great Nature before you start getting to those things.
So, like, one of the things that I would ask is, it's like, since obviously you guys both qualified with NLK for this tournament.
That's actually pretty ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, so you both qualified for NLK, and you both of you decided to choose a counter to NLK. How much did you think that people would also be on this mindset and also choose to counter NLK?
Actually, speaking of which, because Solemn keeps mentioning it, I actually also didn't think there would be as much EZO as NLK. I really thought that people would choose NLK a lot more often because it has a great EZO matchup, honestly. As long as it survives, it's fine.
Yeah, it's like more than 50% in favor of NLK. But the thing is, now we have 5 Ezels in top 8, so everyone is going to think, oh, Ezel is the broken deck. No, it's just everyone played Ezel. There were almost no NLKs. It was almost sad. But yeah, I didn't think so many people would counter it, especially because if we looked at past Worlds, it was a lot of Overlord and a little bit of the leader. And I feel like it's very comparable in the sense that Overlord was like the most consistent best pick for that format, and the leader was the Saki shit deck, and in the end top 8 was mostly Overlord. So I assumed we would have the same thing again, where the Saki deck just was less represented, ruined in the earlier rounds, and then eventually NLK just taking a lot of spots, but that didn't happen, which is pretty interesting.
I suppose that we are actually viewing it wrong. Maybe there actually was a lot of NLK, but as we've mentioned before, there's literally nothing you can do against Ezel if their day's going well, right?
Yeah. But I didn't assume people would get lucky like 6 rounds in a row and then in top 8 as well.
Well, you can play around without having the Bowmans, I suppose. I guess you're still getting multiple Excel circles, right?
Yeah, so Ultima is really deadly.
Yeah, so Ultima's still pretty deadly. I know Stephen Lay, he won round 6 even though or round 5 even though he didn't ride the Bowmans first. So there was that. Like, the deck, even though we talk down to it, the deck is still really strong. It's still a superior ride deck that gains multiple circles in premium, which is some really great
it's really good, especially like at any single moment they can G-guard into Ultima and auto win. There's almost no deck that has enough advantage to really stop that.
Yeah,
but it's just that it shouldn't have this high of a showing when you have highly skilled players who could be playing the harder deck that's actually better. That was my main idea.
Well, there is the mindset, right? Like, why play the deck that takes a lot of skill when you could play the deck that just beats down and wins through that way, right?
Yeah.
Wins through accidentally, your opponent just doesn't have enough shield value.
Yeah, just pure sack.
Yeah, but it's just 2 ways to win. Like, that's the basic nature of Vanguard, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, there's beat down, there's combos. That's it.
hey man, you know what they say. You can't misplay if there is no play to begin with.
That's basically it. Actually, Overlord like last year was also very easy to play. So maybe it's that. Maybe people weren't actually taking the more consistent deck, but they were just playing the easy deck. Maybe, I don't know, maybe people were very afraid that stress and all this shit would ruin their play and then go for, I don't know.
It's great to outthink your opponent and, you know, control the pace of the game. Sometimes you just need to flow and
ruin the pace of the game.
Just ruin the pace. Just don't let your opponent play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different way. But yeah.
Sometimes playing the mirror match also decides on what you want to take. Like, for example, if you're playing the gold mirror, if you lose the dice roll,
you might as well quit. Like, scoop.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Sounds good.
Why were you laughing? Were people like doing
Because
something?
they hear him talking shit about gold. and Steven is sitting right there and he's just laughing, right?
I gave Steven props, man. Like, dude, he didn't win just because Golds is sacky as shit. He's also really good. Like,
Yeah, obviously he's a great player. Even though he forgot GRD's cost against me. But yeah, I mean,
that was round 1, right?
yeah. I literally told him like, man, you realize like GRD put stuff back and he was like, oh yeah. But like, it's one, you can be a great player and take an easy deck to a tournament. Like,
Yeah, and I think that's that's actually the reason why we all played Overlords last year.
definitely.
We play Overlords.
oh, I see.
yeah.
Because it's just easier and you don't want to...
It's more like we couldn't find another deck does well enough against it.
I mean, Tavas.
The thing was, Davis.
How many did you actually test? Because what's really interesting is that I was super Aquaforce fanboy, and I played so much Overlord and just couldn't lose. So I was like, how the hell did Overlord do so well at Worlds when it looked to me like Tavas just had that for free?
I'm not sure I'm not sure the testing that you've had, but we've tested that matchup.
That's
quite a
interesting,
lot.
actually.
Like as the deck and against the deck.
Yeah.
We
And
have Rear.
He's like
the biggest
Aquaforce like Edgelord.
Yes.
And it just didn't work. That's interesting because I mean back then I didn't really do this kind of prep. I didn't do I'm gonna top prep.
I think the thing is, it's not what is happening when your deck is at max potential. It's what's happening when your deck is at 65,
Yeah.
65, 70.
Like,
yeah.
when
the
you have
main
part
problem
of
we
it,
found
right?
was Aqua is if you don't get like the right cards to apply your usual pressure, then you kind of just get like Overlord just snowball on you.
Yeah.
I see.
Because their defense is still pretty solid, right? They
Yes.
they search out a G guard that can become slightly big from the back row because Davis doesn't always commit to back row, right?
Yeah.
Back then, but you can search out PGs. You just get a lot of free advantage back then, or like a medium amount of advantage. Plus Overlord.
5 drive checks.
Yeah, 5 drive checks
Yeah.
can be pretty good, right? Yeah, I think
And
it's
you're
like
constantly getting rid of Aquaforce
Yeah.
field.
I mean, the only thing that could retire was the grade 3, right?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the-
That was enough.
That was you taking out the important cards.
yeah.
but you're
and-
also applying pressure with Ziegenberg, right?
So if they're not replacing that important card, then their pressure goes down
I
as
see.
you go.
Those Aquaforce decks you played against, how many Saber Flow did they run? 4. Okay, so they were actually not dumb.
We had Rear.
We had Rear.
Yeah. Okay.
We had Rear.
That's good card. man.
Like the biggest the real of the actually the main reason why me and Mark we were on Aquaforce
We
before.
both wanted to play Aquaforce,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
we eventually decided to play
Yeah.
Overlord
Like,
I
because of
see.
all the practice that we
Like
had.
the biggest reason why we decided to play Overlord was Kai actually found a very good way to play against Aquaforce as Kagero to the
Okay.
point where our win rate went from about 60% to like 20%.
Yeah.
So what we do is we with a combination of Doombringer, Griffin, and Conroe. So all you needed,
Yeah.
apart from your initial ride, was to see both of them, like one or the other.
Okay.
And
And
so
you just-
what we do is like if you go second, right?
Yeah.
You play Conroe in the front, you dump
Okay.
a grade 3, you play another Conroe on the other column, and then you play and dump another grade 3,
And
and then you play
Griffin's on
Doombringer, Griffin and draw a card.
And
then you
that's-
just rush them.
That's a field that you start rushing.
Yes.
Oh, you would
Yeah.
rush Aquaforce.
Yes.
And Aquaforce actually has trouble handling it because
Yeah, because
now
their pieces are too
you start
important.
losing your pieces.
Yeah.
And then you can't keep up with
Yes.
your pressure.
I see.
And so on top of being able to be that aggressive, so that means that on high damage. And Aquaforce technically takes one strike turn to set up
Yeah.
before they become scary,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because your saber flow happens on your first try to
Yeah.
start collecting pieces.
Yeah.
But then now with the early game rush, your hand is still not ideal
Yeah.
because you have lost so much in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then your overlords are just, and they will be on 4 or 5 by now.
Yeah.
So you apply your next round of pressure with your
Yeah.
Penadrive.
Which also made like riding to grade 3 first not that bad because
Yeah.
you have twin drive pressure.
Yeah, and also because you rush them, they're at higher damage, so
Yeah.
your purge does more,
Yes.
like quicker.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's actually literally
What we did.
the reason why.
Yeah. We just didn't want to.
And then like I tried to do that on stream and I nearly lost it. And the guy he guards for I'm quick drive. I have one line of attack. He guards for 1 to pass and I hit a trip on the last strike check.
He almost got blanks.
And then probably like the YouTube comments like, "Wow, fucking idiot, calling those cards to rear. These Overlords players are all bad, man."
But yeah.
Yeah, well, WCC confirmed Barrow. We have like Andy who doesn't know how to play Overlord properly, and then we have Derek who passes turn.
And then we had Bryson.
It's actually interesting that you guys played
What's
against
this now?
Stavros with Saber, because like so many people didn't run Saber, or like only 2, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
so good.
yeah, like when we tested, like the one of the reasons why we considered Aquaforce was because of Saber Flow. Like I was so good,
Yeah.
but like the problem was like even like another thing with Saber is like technically Overlord can deny your damage, so deny your draw with that card because they just denial
Denial
Griffin.
it, yeah.
And so when you're getting rushed and then they denial Griffin your play Saber Flow, you just
Yeah.
feel really bad.
Yeah.
That yeah, like
I mean, Tava's grade 3 can make your Saber Flow resisted though.
yeah, but that's shit. Like,
Oh yeah,
you're
yeah,
making it
yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And just that, and not like your grade 3 Sabers, which
Yeah.
you want to chuck on the regard. Like there's a lot of combo pieces that was very important. Like while the now Griffin was not a good card to survive, use it to survive because you're not killing anything meaningful. But
Yeah.
and the most meaningful that we find that we can kill with for Saber Flow.
Yeah, it's just killing tempo basically.
Yeah.
I mean, alternatively, you guys didn't mention, if you're playing Aquaforce, you also just don't want to run up against the leaders, eh?
Yeah, that's true.
They're laying a lot of pressure on you from the beginning.
Yes.
And that's
And that goes
just,
back to what we talked about in second.
Yeah.
yeah, like, so if you think about it, just like Andy just said, Overlord has a pretty decent strategy against Aquaforce, right? And they automatically destroy the leaders.
Yeah. Unless
So-
they go second and then don't get anything against
Yeah.
Giffen.
I mean, that's actually okay because you can just ride the 10k.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then choose not to reveal an Overlord, so you drop down to 5k, so you still get your Vanguard attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then for the first turn you pass or you attack under them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you'll get your second Vanguard attack. So Overlord was just too strong in that format. Like it just all of its bases were covered. Strangely enough, I actually discovered a really good counter.
What?
It was Battle Sisters.
Yeah.
I was playing. I shit you not.
Yeah.
Battle Sisters was amazing in that format. There was a large tournament at my locals.
Yeah.
Cardfighters Underground. And Battle Sisters destroyed it. It was first and second because Overlord actually didn't grab PGs too fast, right? So when you G-guard it into an Ishikishima, it was really deadly.
Yeah.
Because you just locked out the Nile Griffin.
Yeah.
And against Aquaforce, you would just lay in really early with what is it? The grade 2 that draws. I always forget the name. You know.
The Soul Blast 1 draw.
Yeah, the Soul Blast 1 and draw when you have
The
three
fi-
three
yeah.
field.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was super strong. I was testing it for weeks and weeks, but I just kept getting grade lock because you only had 4 grade 3s.
Yeah.
That is actually why I ended up playing Overlord. It just
I see.
I really wanted to play Battle Sisters. That's why I decided to play Great Nation this year.
You know, there's this one card that's pretty cool. And like apparently it stops not getting your correct 3.
See, that's why I played this thing. It's like I don't want to get great luck.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike.
Mike is the
great
best.
Mike is best.
Premium's
man.
Premium's still fun, even though
Yeah.
there's some
Well,
hard decks to play.
well, hopefully, like even so, like if the balance is as what we think it is, all right. Like maybe, like so far we're thinking it'll be, Criff, maybe not as the starting Vanguard.
They won't. But if they do, like, thanks Bushi. But if
Like, think about it, right? Like you can still high roll with golds. It's just like you'll be playing 4 Criffs in your main deck.
are you for real?
Would they allow?
Yeah,
you to
no,
play
but the thing is, all you need to do is open a Criff and a Bowmate, and you can still.
Yeah, but that's actually I would hate that more.
But that would make the deck not as consistent as thing. It'll take out some of the consistency that the deck is having.
Yeah, but isn't a major issue actually that it isn't actually mega consistent? So you can't even rely on saying, oh, this thing will hit. That makes it even more sacky.
Yeah.
Like, that's also why I think, oh, Bowmates do too. Like, no, you're not fixing the issue. This deck almost auto-wins just by getting this one stupid thing off.
What if they ban? What if they do something so that you're only allowed to use the V series?
You know what? Or we're just dodging the very obvious topic. They should just get rid of this stride rule, man.
Yeah, that's actually true. Because they will make some new superior right at some point.
Yeah,
actually, it exists with New Wonder.
Exactly. They're just limiting options at this point. I don't understand. So, all of V is non-G break. And we are always implementing cards from V into our new decks for premium, right?
Yeah.
Why is this stride rule even a thing?
Yeah.
Even if your opponent is sitting at 2, you are gaining advantage still. You are still playing the game for the most
You
part.
can still see Breeze.
Yeah.
I mean, even if, like,
I mean, Seabreeze is
I
still
suppose-
okay, right? Like,
I suppose the V rule, stride rule came in because 7 Seas won World.
that's
But, yeah, but it's shit now, so like...
The aftermath was too strong.
if you're playing a Force or an Excel deck, 7 Cs wouldn't even be a problem in this day.
Definitely.
Maybe for a protect.
That stride rule came 1.5 years after.
Yes. Yes.
It's actually very funny because when that stride rule came in, man, Engie, it was like the choice Engie deck.
But at least you can just not swing one turn and that thing is out of the window. Whereas this, there's no counterplay whatsoever. You can only like pray that you can swing under so that the Vivian isn't live, so that like their high roll is slightly less disgusting, but still.
I think like yeah, because we're under the because we helped Derek and Kelvin prepare for Worlds quite a bit, and one of the things that we came in with the assumption that most people would deny damage, and so we actually built the gold deck that doesn't rely on counterblast. So we didn't play Vivian.
I see just Bobos.
Yes, just Bobos and Wonder as well.
I think that's actually smart.
Yeah, we came in with that list, but obviously neither of them wanted to play a high rolling deck. They wanted to win by being a good player and not sacking.
Man, those dreams are over.
Next year.
Next year, right? Yeah, it's been a pretty good talk.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good discussion.
So Albert, when you're listening to this, have fun. Have fun, Albert. All right.
How much time is on the clock?
50 minutes.
50 minutes. Deck thing and this. Wow.
Wow.
Well, enjoy, man.
Fun times, man.
Like maybe